We got Resident Evil, Mario, and Highguard. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up, Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, January 30th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. The big thing that I saw this week was we got our final touch point on Resident Evil Requiem. I assume we'll get like a launch trailer a couple weeks before it launches at the end of February, but yeah, I saw GameSpot said they had a hands-on like 3-hour playthrough of Resident Evil Requiem. They kind of talked about how the game's going to feel, and it even if it does feel, they kind of address the like two separate games conversation, because that's what a lot of people are saying about the game is like Grace's part's going to feel like new, the newer, more survival, or new and oldest parts of the Resident Evil series, where it's going to be more survival, more slow. They also talked about how Leon takes the several middle Resident Evil games, and it's more punchy and all that kind of stuff. So it is two games, but it is cohesive. It kind of gives you a sigh of relief when you switch away from being like vulnerable Grace to a more powerful Leon. They also talked about the kind of split between the two players, and that you will be mostly playing as Grace, and then you'll have a couple kind of you'll have a minor amount of Leon time. So they said it was roughly like 5-1 or so. So yeah, for every like half an hour, or for every hour you spend playing as Grace, you'll probably get like 10 or 12 minutes playing as Leon. I don't know if it's in that specific type like gap. I don't know if it's in like every 2 hours you play as Grace, you're gonna get a half an hour as Leon or something like that. But it'd be cool to kind of break up the pace, or pass the controller back and forth. That's what I'm kind of planning on doing. Me and my wife are gonna play through. I'm gonna play as Grace, the more survival, the more scary parts. And then I assume my wife is more primed to be a punching, kicking machine for zombies. So she'll, I think, enjoy the Leon sections. But yeah, it was kind of cool to hear a more in-depth perspective. I know a lot of people have like been playing the demos and stuff like that, but or played them at events, but getting a longer time, being able to feel the ebb and flow of the game, was a pretty cool perspective. So I'll have a link down below for you to check out that video. Nintendo also had a Super Mario Galaxy Direct, which was basically just dropping the trailer for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. And we are definitely traveling across the galaxies. It seems like there's a lot of things that Mario and Luigi are going to be doing in the movie. I, for one, am very excited for it, especially when they added everyone's favorite green reptile companion, Yoshi's in the trailer. Spoiler alert, you can go watch it if you haven't already. Yoshi's in the trailer. I'm very excited to see Yoshi. He's like the thumbnail, so even if you're looking for the trailer, you're going to see the fact that Yoshi is in it. I'm very excited. I love Yoshi. There was a little stinger at the end of the first one that kind of showed the egg cracking, and the fact that it was Mario Galaxy made me start to question, like, how does Yoshi fit into this like galaxy expanding story? But Yoshi's going to be in it, so I am very excited to see Yoshi. And it might actually be my 4-year-old child's first time at the movie theater. So my family, including myself, are very big fans of the Mario movie. We watch it probably once a week. So excited to see this upcoming sequel. You've probably already seen all of the opinions on Highguard, especially since people have been poo-pooing it since it was the stinger at the end of the Game Awards back in December. But the game actually launched this week, and they're already patching it and receiving player feedback and adding features. The game launched on Monday, January 26th, so it's been a couple days, but already within the week they've gathered data and feedback. They've added an FOV slider. You can like toggle to crouch. They've added a bunch of different features, which shows just how quickly the turnover time is for them upgrading the game. I have put in my few hours, and I don't want to give my full take on it yet. We'll be doing that in a couple weeks. But overall, the game feels fine. Like it's a decent shooter. But some of the choices feel a little bit weird. But this isn't supposed to be the next Apex Legends. According to like the devs have talked about, like they don't need millions of people to play it in order for it to be successful. So if they're looking to find their crowd, I think some people will really like it. Running around and on your horse and shooting people while horse mounted. All the shooting feels good and crisp and clean. There's just a little bit of tedium, and the feel of the game is a little weak, but they're addressing those. So the fact that they have already gotten a patch, they've already received feedback, gotten a patch in that kind of adjusts some of the features that people have asked for, within 72 hours, is impressive. So hopefully they can continue to gain that feedback and continue to grow the game and make it feel better for a larger community of people. Moving right along, Dispatch released on Switch this week, or on Switch 2, which led to some controversy. Dispatch being a Telltale-like but very adult story of like superheroes, and they're bringing it to the family-friendly Switch 2 console, which seems like a kind of bad matchup there. A lot of people have been crying foul and censorship because ad hoc, in order to meet the platform requirements, they basically just turned on the toggled off nudity that was already kind of in the game. In the game, you could already toggle on or off the nudity. You make that choice right when you load up the game. Like, do you want nudity? Or are you streaming this game? Turn it on or off right now. What they kind of defaulted to is just turning it off, and that allowed them to bring it to the Switch console. A lot of people cried censorship this week, so they got into a lot of hot water about that. Everybody kind of pointed the finger at Nintendo, and then Nintendo actually responded and said, we don't tell developers how they are required to meet our guidelines, just that we have these guidelines that we have to enforce in order to be on the platform. So they kind of pushed it back onto ad hoc. I think it's a little bit of wishy-washy finger pointing here, but I'm curious. It also made me start to think about like Cyberpunk is on Switch. Like, how is that running there? And I assume there's no nudity in that, even though it's kind of rampant in Cyberpunk. So we've known about this before. The Mortal Kombat one, like there's not any blood, all that kind of stuff. But something about Dispatch made people kind of cry foul. So you could already turn it off, so I don't know that that's the biggest issue. And if you wanted to play the game, you probably could pick it up on a PC or another platform if you wanted to see the boobies or not. So I think this is a little bit overblown, but it is kind of fun to see the developers and Nintendo actually responding to their more adult-friendly, or their more family-friendly brand. So interesting to see there. I still enjoyed Dispatch and been meaning to get to a second playthrough, but I digress. Ubisoft did a major reset, their words not mine, last week, and that resulted in them canceling 6 games, including a Prince of Persia, the Prince of Persia remake that has been kind of stuck in development hell for a couple years. 200 people have lost their jobs and counting. I didn't want to talk about this at the time, but this is kind of mounted up into a bigger deal. They also doubled down on their use of generative AI in gaming, which is very much a third rail in games right now. Because of all the stuff they're doing from this major reset, there's an incoming strike, or there's an upcoming strike. The unions in the EU are going to strike on February 10th through 12th, so they're striking for several days to make the executives feel the pressure. And also, more importantly, the stock is down. The stock took a massive hit, I think, declining by like 33%. So pretty big stakes going on here. Yeah, it seems like there's a lot. Ubisoft has kind of been treading water for a little bit here and hit or miss with their Assassin's Creed franchises. And they announced that they're working on 12 games, but then only make 3 of them. So all in all, sorry to hear the 200 people or so have lost their jobs. I really think it's dumb to kind of double down on generative AI. Like, it's going to be something they have to live with. But secondarily, I already saw an article this week talking about like 50% of developers thinks it's bad for video games. So like, people are starting to get around to this idea that it's not helpful and it's not good for the industry. So You know, the fact that Ubisoft is doubling down on it makes it all the worse that they're making a lot of bad decisions over there at Ubisoft. So curious where this leads. Maybe maybe Yves Guillemot is not too long for his position at the top of Ubisoft, but that's just speculation. In more collective action in the video game space, Stop Killing Games, the initiative to force developers to maintain servers for games so that they never go offline. That was proposed, I think, last year at some point, has kind of reached the end of their signature phase. They've received 1.3 million signatures, and that's well above what they needed in order to get the EU to respond. So it has now moved out of the signature gathering phase and is now going to be put in front of a political, body, and they have to decide, if there's merit to this. This will ultimately damage a lot of, I think this will be damaging to to a lot of developers. Like if a game doesn't work and they're forced to keep servers online for a long time, I think there might be a way for if they release the reins, maybe people can maintain their own servers privately, but that maybe doesn't work with how copyright and all that kind of stuff. Do they have to release code for the game? Anyway, I'm getting too far down the rabbit hole, but Stop Killing Games will be responded to by the EU thanks to all the signatures they received. So we'll be interested to see what comes out of that. Getting in on the Fallout train as the Season 2 starts to come up to a wrap. Fallout 76 is free for the next week. So if you want to get in and play with the newly added, voiced by Walton Goggins, Ghoul character that is in Fallout 76, you can go in and hop into Fallout 76 for free up until February 5th, next Thursday. So looking forward to all the people that jump into that. I've already played my fair share of 76, but if you haven't, now would be a good time to hop in and see what you think of it. Dead by Daylight have exhausted all horror characters that exist out there, and they are now turning to the community to help them build more. I'm slightly sarcastic at the beginning there, but they're doing what's called a grimoire program where they're they're asking for feedback from the community. They're going to make a new killer and a new survivor to be added to the game, and they're just they're going to throw a bunch of ideas out there, help, they'll whittle down, the community will help whittle down until they figure out, what does this killer look like, what do they play like, what are their special attributes, and they do the same for a survivor. So really cool, the fact the game's been out for 10 years, that means a lot, that they're reaching out to the community and trying to get some feedback, and actually we're going to have a community, character in the game. It's a pretty cool program that they're instituting for this next chapter of Dead by Daylight. So pretty exciting stuff there. More details will be down below in the description. It's been 5 years since Inscription was released, and my back hurts just thinking about it. But that is enough time to play that game and then make a kind of spiritual successor or response to that game. And that's what we seem to have gotten with the Killing Stone. It is a roguelike deck builder where you will progress through some kind of matches and you'll use your cards to defeat the enemy cards. But we'll also have a kind of stepping out of the chair, first person puzzly aspect to it, which makes it feel very Inscription-like, with card battling plus mystery to be solved even in the room that you are currently in. So you can check out the Killing Stone. I'll have a link down below for you to check that out. It's looking like this is going to be the year of the train, at least according to a PC Gaming article that I saw this week, talking about the next big thing in survival crafting games is we're going to do it on trains. They listed out a half dozen games or so that are coming out that are all based around trains. Void Train already existed, and is a game that I was told good things about, but that kind of fell under my radar. But yeah, people are starting to look at some of these games, a lot of which are aptly Snowpiercer inspired. So, if you want to live out your fantasy with your friends of building up your, train to blast through the icy wilderness, you can definitely live out your Snowpiercer fantasy there in several of the games. some of which also looked like Raft, but you're on a train. Like you're gonna stop the train, gather resources, put them back on the train, make this train better, and then keep going. Like that. There was also like a RTS or a more strategic, like building up the actual train cars. What are they gonna do for you? Kind of building of it all. So lots of really cool survival strategy crafting train games that are coming out. So is 2026 the year of the train? Let me know down below in the comments. But that's it for this week. Let me know if you feel I forgot anything. But as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, please follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch for more great content. I'll have links down below. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye.